Country getting slammed for trying to push diversity, equity, and inclusion policies when making critical decisions like hiring during a massive teacher and staff shortage. Joining us now to discuss is President of Parents Defending Education's Nicole Neily. Good morning to you, Nicole. Welcome back to the National Desk. Great to see you as always. DEI becoming a very controversial topic lately. How is this playing out in K-12 schools across America?
Sure. As you said, there are districts across the country that are making decisions in hiring based on immutable characteristics, hiring based on skin color. We have found from coast to coast districts that base hiring, base retention, using proxies, having applicants file diversity statements, asking questions during the interview process, or even going as far as using quotas, which is something that is really appalling.
What are some of the DEI interview questions that are being asked during this interview process?
Sure. In Algonquin, Illinois, which is a rural area, they ask applicants, when is the last time you shared your pronouns? Why do you think it's essential to share your pronouns? In Colorado, in the Poudre School District, they mandate that the interview team ask a minimum of 2 DEI-focused questions like, what does anti-racism mean to you? And tell us about a time at work when someone did something that's a microaggression, it was discriminatory. What did you do to address it? And so obviously they know what kinds of answers they're looking for. This is just a litmus test.
Yeah, and you mentioned Illinois. We also want to talk about Chicago for a minute here. A lot of education stories coming out of Chicago because parents there are really fired up. This time it's about the new public school curriculum for 8th grade students. A bunch of teachers turned whistleblowers revealed the lesson plans they say would essentially decolonize learning, teach woke ideology, and teach students to become political activists. What have you learned about this? Because we know this, these teachers have come out and said that this was supposed to be kind of secretive, that there's a password, that parents will not be able to see this curriculum until it's completely out.
Yeah, so this is a new curriculum. It's $135 million the city of Chicago has spent on this, Chicago Public Schools, in 2021. And I mean, let's take a step back. The fact that there are, this is middle school curriculum, that only 16% of children in 8th grade can read at a proficient level is appalling. I mean, let's talk about decolonizing. What's a way to break shackles is actually to allow children, give them the skill sets they need to thrive. But the curriculum has things like assigning novels through a research project called Research Through a Decolonized Lens that teaches students to capture colonial violence, settler aggression, and activism of indigenous people globally, and teach them how non-Western axiologies can guide the solving of problem. I mean, this curriculum is, they're giving 8th graders who are 13, 14 years old graphic novels. Our children deserve better. They should be lifted up and inspired, not held down and told because of your skin color, you just can't do well.
Meantime, we got this fiscal cliff coming to school districts across the country because all that temporary COVID aid is about to run out. So how's this going to affect all these districts and what impact it's going to have on teachers and students?
Sure. So during COVID, all these ESSER spending bills were approved to help schools reopen and address learning loss. But in many cases, districts didn't actually do that. They spent like drunken sailors. And then sadly, they got used to an artificially inflated baseline, assuming that that money would come through every year. It's not happening. And now districts are forced to make massive cuts to bring their budgets back in line. 4%, 5%, 6% cuts. So what we're seeing right now is districts making huge layoffs, eliminating math classes, eliminating athletics, really inflicting maximum pain because they think then it will activate parents as taxpayers to go and ask elected officials for more money. That's not happening. But funny enough, what we're not seeing is we're not seeing districts make other kinds of choices. We're not seeing districts say, why don't we actually have teachers maybe pay a small percentage of their healthcare costs or small percentage of their retirement costs, like many of us do in the private sector, in nonprofits. And so I think the fact that we're seeing administrators try and really force this to be a harder issue than it is something that's really disappointing. This is not an open spigot in perpetuity.
President of Parents Defending Education, Nicole Neily, thanks so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate it.